Trust me.
So he's talking about an Iron Dome for the country. I want Greenland from Denmark. And by the way, I want the Panama Canal.
Trump has said he'll annex Canada, invade Mexico, abandon Ukraine, abandon NATO, seize the Panama Canal, and take over Greenland. So Greenland's response to Trump is?
Go f yourself.
Shut the f up, Dan.
Hi everyone, welcome back. JJ here. I'm the left's new Kiwi Joe Rogan. Just joking. Donald Trump, yes, invading countries, threatening to invade countries, or at least stealing assets of them. Let's have a look at what's going on. I've picked some clips from various places. I'll put links to those longer videos in the description if you want to check those out. But here we've got decoding Fox News, no more wars. Panama, give us our canal back, Trump says. Canada, well, just annex your whole country. Talking about Canada being another state of the US. Mexico, I'm sending the US military in to destroy the drug cartels. That's another story. And Middle East, multiple countries, we will crush you. Ukraine, Russia can take it. And Greenland, wanting to buy Greenland. So we're going to look at the Panama Canal and Greenland in this video. There's so much here with Trump. It's chaos even before he's taken office, threatening to do all kinds of things. So let's get into it.
President-elect Trump issuing a warning that the U.S. could demand the Panama Canal be returned to the U.S. from that country.
Donald Trump doubling down on his America First agenda, warning Panama to stop ripping us off when it comes to the Panama Canal and the fees they're charging.
Because we're being ripped off at the Panama Canal like we're being ripped off everywhere else. He just said, take it back. That's a good idea. It's such a terrible thing is happening. The Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States of America due to its critical role, American economy, the whole world economy, and also national security. When President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1. They gave it away. Considered one of the great wonders of the world. The Panama Canal opened for business 110 years ago and was built at huge cost to the United States. And it really is big when you consider the lives and the treasure, the equivalent of $1.2 trillion today. You don't hear those numbers. 38,000 American men, almost all men, they went there to be construction workers and dig. They were diggers. And they were brave. 38,000 men died from infected mosquitoes in the jungles of Panama during the construction period. Think of that. We lost 38,000 men.
He really just says what he wants to say, even if he's reading from a teleprompter. I think he went a bit off script here. If you look a bit deeper into this, we can see the claim that 35,000 Americans died during the construction of the Panama Canal is inaccurate. According to official statistics, approximately 5,609 people died during the US construction of the canal. Of these deaths, only about 350 were white workers who were primarily Americans. The majority of fatalities were among black Caribbean workers, with an estimated 4,500 deaths. The total workforce included 12,000 Americans out of the 56,000 workers employed.
Teddy Roosevelt was president of the United States at the time of its building and understood the strength of naval power and trade.
Panama's president said, go away. Every square meter of the Panama Canal belongs to Panama and will continue to belong to Panama. Trump then responded to the Panama leader saying, we will see about that.
So making threats already to foreign leaders here. And look at this. He's on Twitter again, or on X and Truth Social, tweeting out or posting whatever he wants to, planting an American flag in the Panama Canal. Now let's hear a bit of commentary on this from an expert in the region, and I'll react to it.
Is Brett Bruin, former director of global engagement for President Obama. First, I want to hear your reaction when you woke up this morning, saw the headline, and help us understand why Panama matters in the big scheme of things currently.
Yeah, let me just, for the audience's benefit, say in very simple terms, what Trump is proposing to do is to recolonize the Panama Canal. This is land that the U.S. took from Panama, and then we signed a treaty, and we said we would give it back to Panama after 100 years And we did. There is no going back on that. And so what Trump is proposing, quite frankly, is both illegal, it's also immoral, and it's just not good diplomacy. So I think, while this may have been a late night inspiration, just like buying Greenland was during his last presidency, I think saner minds need to prevail here.
So firing off late night tweets again reminds me of Elon Musk doing that, and they're both working together here. But really, he's implying that it's an authoritarian kind of move, a blatantly illegal and really bad diplomacy. Again, before he's even taken office this time, doesn't happen until January, firing on these tweets, annoying people around the world.
And China is investing heavily in Latin America, and we've been ignoring it. They just, in fact, opened a new port in Peru that took place just in the last couple of months. They have heavy investments across Central and South America. It's important, I think, for the U.S. to engage with investment, engage diplomatically. But, these threats are not going to get us anywhere. And let's not forget here, a lot of the leaders from Mexico on downwards are leftward leaning or on the extreme left. So, Trump's threats will only play into the hands of those leaders.
So really, Trump has boasted how no new wars were started, but he's really pushing it. This could cause some kind of conflict down there. And as he said, left-leaning leaders, or quite far left as well, does he really want conflict in that part of the world? He seems to be pushing for it. Or is it just threats? We'll get to that. But now let's get into what Donald Trump's been saying or threatening about Greenland as well.
Donald Trump has revived his desire to claim Greenland from Denmark for the US. Danish PM Mette Frederiksen has called the suggestion absurd.
Now, if you're getting value out of this episode so far, I'd really appreciate it if you remember to hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. It really does help. And do subscribe if you're new here and you want to get more of this kind of content from me in the very near future. It's definitely absurd, but look at what media is saying that's favorable to Donald Trump, even about this.
Sometimes things aren't for sale until they are for sale. And when you look at Trump, I mean, this is a guy who bought Mar-a-Lago for $7 million. He knows how to cut a deal.
Oh, that's a bad comparison. Comparing buying Mar-a-Lago because he can cut a deal to buying Greenland, a country. These international politics here, it's nothing like that. But of course, they're going to say something like this about whatever Trump says and does, no matter what. It has been talked about before a long time ago, but Donald Trump bringing this up in this day and age when there's conflicts going on, when we're much further ahead, it is just out of the blue. Why would he even bring this up? It does seem pretty authoritarian to suggest this.
It is undeniably beautiful. Under its stunning landscape, Greenland is also rich in mineral wealth, and it's a lot closer to America than Denmark. But the idea of the US buying the territory hasn't been a live one since President Truman was in the White House.
Greenland's part of the Kingdom of Denmark, which is a NATO ally, and it became a NATO ally based on its experience when it was neutral and the Nazis invaded it and controlled it during World War II. So Trump attacking a NATO ally.
So this history of the Nazis taking over, would Donald Trump even know about that? I doubt that. He doesn't read history, doesn't even read books. Somebody would have to tell him that. I wonder if somebody's brought that up with him since the time that he started suggesting this. I doubt it, or he's just ignoring it, brushing it off.
The world has typically had very, very high expectations for us. And as we look at this chapter in American history, I think the world's expectations of us have become much, much lower.
I think that's true as the Trump administration comes into being the second one. It's the last one that he can have unless he works out some way to stay on more. But it's the world outside, and I am from outside the US, so I can kind of see what's going on. Perhaps in some things better than people who are inside the US in that media bubble. And you can see that Trump threatening people from around the world, threatening countries like this, and being oblivious to some of the history here. It is going to be a fascinating administration. Is it going to be chaos, somewhat similar to the last one? We'll have to see.
I'm pleased to announce that Ken Howry is my choice to be the ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. He is a venture capitalist. He started the Founders Fund.
And the Founders Fund, if you don't know what that is, Peter Thiel is involved in that. He was involved in getting J.D. Vance elected, of course. You might have heard his name during the last Trump administration. He backed Trump fully. And now one of his colleagues in the Founders Fund is involved. Founders Fund is an American venture capital firm based in San Francisco, established in 2005. The fund was co-founded by Peter Thiel, Ken Howry, and Luke Nosek, with Thiel serving as managing partner. As of 2023, Founders Fund manages approximately $12 billion in assets.
For purposes of national security and freedom throughout the world, the United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. That's just straight up authoritarian language right there. Very Putin-esque, very Hitler-esque in its idea of conquering territories.
I totally agree with Ben there. That's so authoritarian, talking of other countries, other territories like that, assuming that you can just take them over, use your will to take them over. Very Putin-esque and yes, even Hitler-esque.
So in response, Greenland's Prime Minister, Mute Egede, says, "It's not yours, go away."
Yes, he said Greenland is not up for sale. What else could he say with this absurd suggestion from Trump here? And this article and headline from the Straits Times. And the Prime Minister says, not surprisingly, Greenland is ours. We are not for sale and never will be for sale. We must not lose our long struggle for freedom. Something to note there on the last line, though, Greenland is a semi-autonomous part of Denmark and host to a large US Air Force base. Now, a lot of US Air Force bases around the world in different countries and territories, including Greenland. And indeed, the article says Greenland, with its Pituffik Air Base, I hope that I pronounced that correctly, I probably did not, is strategically important for the US military and its ballistic missile early warning system, since the shortest route from Europe to North America runs via the island. So this will be it. This will be the reason that Donald Trump wants it. Perhaps the military people have been talking to him about it, whispering in his ear, and he's thought, oh, that's a good idea. Let's try and get Greenland. That would be good. Let's go for that. And no other president before, for a very long time, has even suggested such an absurd idea. But Donald Trump brings it up again. He brought it up during his last presidency, and now he's bringing it up again.
But there's one big problem when it comes to interpreting what Donald Trump is proposing here, because there's the policy and then there's the posturing, and it's not easy to tell which of the two is real.
Well, that's definitely true, isn't it? Between the policy and the posturing. So much posturing with Trump. He says so many things, sometimes contradictory as well. It says many things. Is it going to be actual policy? What do you think? Do you think that he could actually carry these things out? Will he attempt it? Will he risk conflict, military conflict in some cases, to carry out these things? Or is it just something he's throwing out in a late night tweet? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you think about this idea of Trump's. These two ideas among many, as we've seen. I've just dealt with two here. Let me know in the comments. As I said, I'm going to put links in the description to a number of videos where some of this material came from. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a link to a related video. Go and see that now if you want to. And thanks to everybody for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next one.